The Death of Marat is a painting by Jacques-Louis David of the murdered French revolutionary leader Jean-Paul Marat. It is one of the most famous artworks of the French Revolution, and it can be found in the Royal Museum of Fine Arts of Belgium in Brussels. The painting shows a radical journalist lying dead in his bath on July 13, 1793, after his murder by Charlotte Corday.
This artwork was created during the time of the French Revolution, a time where the French people rebelled against the monarchy of the incompetent King Louis XVI, whose decadent manner put France into an economic downfall.
This angered the French people, who were not given representation in politics or land and therefore suffered from starvation and lack of rights. During this time, the philosophical ideas of Locke, who claimed that the people were born with the natural rights to life, liberty, and property, influenced the French to fight for their rights in the country. Once the people started rebelling, Marat, being a journalist and a close friend of the revolutionaries' leader Robespierre, was given the opportunity to express his disdain and his hatred of the monarchy. Later, he filled the position of writing the death sentence of suspected counter-revolutionaries in France.
Moreover, it was noted by historians that David was a colleague of Marat, and he wanted to glorify Marat's work through this artwork, thus making this painting a part of the political propaganda of the French Revolution.
Also, despite being based on an actual event, David has carefully planned the scene so it's not meant to be a snapshot of how things went. We could say that David presents us with a carefully staged death as in theater. The sense of space is reduced to a minimum, as David is not preoccupied with the rendering of a perfect perspective of a room. Rather, he is interested in idealizing Marat, thus displaying the qualities that make this artwork a neoclassical one.
The artwork is quite big, being 162 by 128 centimeters, and it was intended as an official commemorative painting. We know Marat had a skin condition, and the only relief he could get was to lay in a bath from where he also used to work. The scene should then be set in Marat's bathroom, but the room painted by David does not resemble a real bathroom. We can only see a bathtub, and we do not know what is in the rest of the room.
The back wall is also empty and blocks the viewer's eyes, forcing him to focus on Marat in the foreground. Linear perspective is reduced to a minimum and can be seen, for example, in the representation of the tub, which obviously needs to have a certain depth to host Marat's body.
Also, Marat's body has no sign of the skin condition affecting him, as David wanted instead to idealize his subject. Marat is shown in a classical position with his right arm and head taking opposed directions.
Yes, we can also see parallels between this work and Michelangelo's Pietà, with the position of the bodies being similar in both works.
Marat's representation is also similar to Jesus in that there is stigmata in Marat's body.
Yes, but now let's focus on the way light is depicted. Marat's body is partially lit by a light coming from the left, as visible by the shadows of Marat's torso and the shadows created by the piece of paper he holds. It is not possible to tell where this light comes from. Rather than natural light, it represents a kind of divine light illuminating a martyr.
That's true. The body is depicted as a solid and detailed form where you could see the muscles.
Also, the backward part of the right arm is shown in full light, but as you move towards the right, it becomes brownish as that part is not illuminated.
And even the scene itself uses very sober tones in terms of color. The more outstanding colors are the white of the cloths, the green fabric of the bathtub top, and the yellow-brown of the side table.
Yes, and also notice how there's a lack of blood, much like the classical works of the ancient Greco-Roman art. Despite it being a murderous scene, there is only a tiny splash of red to represent blood, as neoclassical works were not meant to be dramatic or gruesome. Rather, David aims to display the morality of Marat as an essential individual in the revolution.
And to add on to that, the colors are saturated, and that adds consistency to the painting. It's like Marat's body could be made of marble almost, and his bathtub is metaphorical of his grave.
That's correct. And also, we cannot let the papers in his hand go unnoticed. They are actual, detailed documents. For example, the paper in Marat's left hand is a letter in French that translates as, "Because I am unhappy, I have a right to your help," in French.
There is also some money on a desk next to the bathtub that, according to some art historians, was meant to be sent to Charlotte Corday, which was supposed to serve as a symbol of apology for all the wrongs that he has done as a revolutionary.
And although this was meant to idealize Marat, David's work hid the corruption that was present in the reign of the revolutionaries during this time.